Hi everybody, this is Saad for the Sad Truth. Over the past year and a half or so, I've had numerous people asking me to comment formally about a paper that came out in late 2015, published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences, which is a very prestigious outlet. This was a paper titled Sex Beyond the Genitalia, the Human Brain Mosaic, and the authors are Daphna Joel et al. And now I haven't read the paper carefully. I downloaded it earlier today in preparation for this clip. I very quickly went through it, so I didn't get into all the technical details. But as I expected, having read earlier press releases of the paper, the authors in question basically use some new ways to compare the brains of men and women using various metrics. So if typically, let's say, people used the brain volume of particular regions of the brain to compare the brains of males and females, in the current paper they use a whole bunch of other metrics. For example, brain connectivity or cortical thickness. And so by looking at all of these different metrics, then they conclude, well, sure, there are some regions that are sort of more typical of males, others more typical of females, and then of course there's much overlap, some that you can't tell the difference, and so hey, it's a continuum, and so imagine now what the gender theorists would do with that. Uh, the reality is that that's a profoundly idiotic conclusion to arrive at, let alone that the study itself uh, borders on being buffoonish in the following sense. So if I were to take, say, the whole bodies, let's satirize it using an extreme example. If I were to take all of the features, the anatomical and morphological and physiological features of males and females, and then I said, okay, let's look at all of these different things. Men have 10 fingers and women have 10 fingers. Men have 10 toes, women have 10 toes. Men have 2 kidneys, women have 2 kidneys. Men have 2 eyes, women have 2 eyes. Men have 2 ears, women have 2 ears. Well, yes, there is this area where the women have ovaries and men have testicles, women have vaginas, and men have penises. But short of these areas that relate to the genitalia, if we look at the totality of metrics, well, there's really a lot more similarity between men and women, and so on, right? Or if I looked at, say, dogs, and I look at a Chihuahua and I look at a Great Dane, well, I can list a bunch of morphological features of these two dog breeds that would lead me to conclude that there are no differences between these two dogs when you look at those particular metrics. So the fact that you identify particular brain regions and demonstrate that there is sufficient overlap between male and female brains that you can't speak of, quote, a sexually dimorphic set of brain structures doesn't imply that there is no such thing as maleness and femaleness, because what constitutes being a male is not simply cortical thickness or brain connectivity. It's a slew of interactive forces, how our hormones interact with those particular structures, and all sorts of other very complicated things that then define downstream what constitutes our maleness and our femaleness. So the fact that someone identifies a set of brain structures and does not arrive to the conclusion that there are absolute, clear, sexually dimorphic categorizations of what constitutes a male brain and a female brain doesn't suddenly imply that, gender is a continuum, okay? Because that's exactly what the schmucks who wish to argue for that position, Bill Nye, are now trying to use, right? They take this, methodologically fancy brain imaging study and then conclude, look, you can't tell what's male, what's female when you look at anatomical features of the brain. And so I hope this is a slightly more helpful critique of the study. As I said, I haven't looked at the specific details of the study, but frankly I don't need to, because the general sort of paradigm that is used here is quite clear to me. You take a bunch of structures that heretofore had not been analyzed across males and females, and then you demonstrate that there is enough noise, that there's enough overlap between male and female brains that, hey, there is no such thing as maleness and femaleness. It's really a continuum. Nonsense. Have a good week, everybody, or rather have a good weekend. Talk to you soon. Ciao.